We're live. Good morning. Sunday sermons here with NonProphet Podcast with Jake, Eric, and Black. How you guys doing?
Good.
We were just discussing our handles, and one of our co-stars here, I have to be really careful because I keep screwing up. So, going to call you Black. And repeat that over and over again, so I just started using it.
Good luck with that.
That's right. We're gonna. I want to just go live because we're talking about Christianity.
Well, your faith specifically.
Yeah. Well, I was.
Or your lack thereof. Is
Well,
that what you're trying to say?
It's not. I have a lack of
Having
faith.
A question of faith, or like what?
Black and I talk about this, and I always tell him, if you're a Catholic, you can't be a Christian too. But I'm kind of beginning to believe some of the same stuff about like modern.
I agree with that.
But Baptists and stuff, like I just don't really feel like they have it either. I feel like they're not Christians either. And now that I'm looking into like what a Gnostic is and some of this little more esoteric stuff, like I'm beginning to believe that I'm a Gnostic. And that won't be the end of my journey, that I'll probably find even more, deeper truth, and my faith will continue to evolve. But it kind of has moved past the last, 3,000 years, though. And I don't have anything against Jesus Christ. I'm just, I've studied him so much.
Where do you go for church for Gnosticism?
I've been looking into it, and it looks like Mason lodges are probably the best place to start. I don't think I'm going to join a Mason lodge, but there's some other kinds of stuff that are similar to that. That's where a lot of Gnostics practice. I'd even probably check out some Rosicrucians. I hear they're not that hard to find. But rather than putting all my emphasis on the gospel, I've read the gospel 6 times. I don't really feel like I need to read it again to get more out of it. Right now, I think it's probably more important for me to read other stuff now.
In my opinion, it's not a matter of what you believe, it's what you do. That's what kind of defines your religion.
Sure. People like to put isms on things, though, and I think it's okay to, discuss, particularly if you're not, really, attached to this ideology that's inclusive in this name, then I don't think it's such a big deal to, use isms. Does that make sense?
I think everybody should avoid isms altogether.
They're just good descriptors. That's to say, as long as you don't take too much. I say I'm a Christian. I say I'm a Gnostic. I say I'm this. I'm that. As long as you don't take too much attachment to it, it's here's this kind of well-defined set of beliefs that I have. That I like. I feel like you don't have to take it beyond that. People like to twist it, but when I say lately I've been studying and believing the Gnostic stuff. Agnostic is not Gnostic. Gnostic is a form of Christian mysticism. Just for those of you who don't know, Gnosticism is Christian mysticism, which has a lot of similarities to Jewish mysticism or Kabbalah. It's esoteric Christianity. But they also hold some really weird beliefs about Jesus that most Christians do not. Gnostics think that he wasn't crucified, and they think that he was probably either an alien or trained by the aliens to be a prophet. So if you follow that whole Anunnaki, Sumerian text line down, and you study it through the Hebrew and up into the modern Bible, it's all the same guys, right? So if you think it's all the same guys, and Enlil is always the devil, he's the devil, right? But he's just this powerful alien or future human or whatever. He's the one who talks to Jesus. So if that interpretation is even half correct, then he was talking to the aliens. He's not talking to God. He's not talking to a creation of God. He's talking to fucking Lucifer, Enlil. So then you start understanding that, wait a second, this dude was trained by the most elites of the humans at the time, Like, where was he between the age of 12 and 30? You know where he was? This is where Gnosticism comes from. You guys all disappeared. Did I lose you?
No, we're here.
Okay.
What do you mean? We're here. We're just listening. You're in the middle of a dialogue.
Oh, I'm done. I can keep going, but I mean, I kind of wanted to break down Gnosticism a little bit. But like, have you heard any of that stuff? Do you know that there's this group of Christians out there that believe this stuff?
No.
Yeah. That's why I say I'm like loose. Like, I'm not really sure. I think that's
But
Christian
I'm sure
anymore.
There's a lot of people that believe all kinds of fucking shit. Like, there's no shortage of people believing shit.
Sure, I understand. But that's also the reason why I say it's like I'm not afraid to use an ism. Like, it's very possible that like my beliefs will evolve beyond that particular ism. But right now, I'm really interested in studying that, and I like a lot of what they're saying. Huh?
I think I just hate the term.
Also, a lot of times it denotes a group of people too. Like Gnostics, Templars were Gnostics. The Rosicrucians were Gnostics. There's like several kinds of Gnostics, and they were very powerful. They had very powerful places in history. There were guardians of knowledge. Some people don't like them, and that's fine. You don't have to like the Templars. I'm not sure I'm necessarily a fan. But what they studied for their time was revolutionary in thought and philosophy and physics and stuff. They really had a grip on technology. And it was through this weird faith-based system by reading old texts that, like talked about, this is the Rosicrucians are like, and Gnostics are date back like really like through the Crusades. And these these guys were researching DNA and 0-point energy and cymatics in 800 AD. So like they were powerful. They were like the Pythagoreans of their time, kind of. And they ended up kind of being some like ruthless warlords, or that's what history has told us, but I'm not so sure I believe that.
Dude, all right. Are you guys seeing these? I know it's stupid to be on 4chan, but have you guys heard about these auto-draft or not overdraft update things on Chase banks?
You know what? I was telling my wife about the jogger issue with them frauding Chase yesterday. I did read about some of that. Yeah. Yeah. So, did you know about this, Handy?
No.
All right. Can I give you a little TLDR?
Go for it.
So apparently there was a glitch in some sort of Chase bank account systems, which is not the first time this has ever been done before. This was happening like 100 years ago.
I wonder if I can find something on that.
People were submitting inside of their accounts fake checks with account numbers and routing numbers and stuff like this that were fake. And so because all the systems are automatic, when they submitted into that check, it instantly recognized that amount into there and the account, and both debited and credited both people's accounts. And then people went straight to the ATM and withdrew as much cash as they possibly could. And because the checks that they made were fake, they could literally just type up an infinite amount. So now they're starting to see videos of people, obviously withdrawing massive amounts of cash out of these ATMs. But now, because Chase has found the issue and corrected it, it is going back and debiting those people's accounts the amount that they took out in the fraudulent check. And these people are thousands, like tens, almost $100,000 in debt because of the money they took out that they didn't have. Hang on though. There's another side to this one. I think this is like one of those CIA scams. It sounds like that the people who were giving that information was the banks. Bankers were leaking that information and giving them a way to defraud the system. I really think it's like this weird plot to like transfer wealth into one group of people from another group of people. I think it was intentional. I think they gave these communities, like if you go and look at the Twitter accounts that were posting this stuff,
And where they got that information, that it's like, I think it was Chicago. Like there was a big group of people who did it in Chicago. It was like a run on the banks there. And it was like it looked like it was an intentional shift in wealth. Like they wanted to give these people a bunch of freaking money for some reason. And some bankers came on 4chan and even said like, yeah, we're not going to do anything about it. No. You know, did you read that stuff too? Did you read that stuff yesterday?
Well, no, I'm seeing their accounts now in the negative in the red.
Yeah, I know. They were scamming white people.
No. Like the people that scam the system out of the Chase Bank accounts, they're in the negative now.
Look, it's really hard for me to discuss this without getting a ban. So I can't really, because it involves two groups of people, which you know both of those groups of people, the 1350 and their masters. You can't talk about it like that, but I'd like to. But it was a top-down scam in these cities with those two groups of people.
Well, I mean, I've said it before that there's been so much fraud going on. It's literally unprecedented, the amount of fraud, and it's impossible to, quantize the fraud as well, too, now at today's stage. So to say that this is a fraud, it's like...
Dude, just in the last 2 months, I've had one of my credit cards get hacked and charges that weren't mine. My email account got gotten into. My gaming services were taken over. My Instagram and Facebook are not mine anymore. They're somebody else's.
Oh,
Probably
shit.
Yeah.
No, that's part of the reason why I don't want it.
You should go take them back over if you can.
So,
I mean, I could. Part of me doesn't even give a shit.
So, Handy, I got a question for you on this one.
My Steam account I got back, obviously.
Handy, I kind of got a semi-personal question on this one for you.
Yeah.
You can feel free not to answer it if you don't want to. But, if you were anticipating the fraud going on your account to the point where it maybe shut you down or limited your amount of withdrawals, how much money would you want to have in an account like that you'd feel comfortable with? How much would you want to have in person, and in what form would you want to have that denomination in?
I mean, precious metals would probably be the best, but cash.
Okay. As a percentage basis, what amount of cash would you want? Would you want in cash, or what percentage would you want in, like what you said, precious metals, or would you want in guns, cars, whatever?
I mean, I typically have about 25% in goods that don't devalue, like firearms, for example.
Like what? Like firearms?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then maybe a good
firearms.
Maybe a good 50 in precious metals, and then cash for the other 25.
Very good. And now, can I ask, in the precious metals category, what percentage of metals make up each one of those percentage? Like you said, it was 50% of your net worth. Is that like, 25 gold, 25 silver, or is that?
I guess it would kind of depend on what I could get my hands on. I've thought about getting a crucible, start melting shit down.
Ooh, you should.
Okay.
As soon as I get to Russia, I'm going to start doing that kind of stuff. Literally the second I get there.
So,
like some of the lesser expensive but more useful metals, I feel like is almost better in some ways. Like gold's almost too valuable to keep around. I'd rather have other things like copper and silver. And
to be honest, because of the way that metals are priced and the way their value is kind of fixed, like gold and silver is about the best to convert into. As far as like, if you want to hold for market value, you could do your research on particular metals, but silver and gold is always going to be the best.
So here's what I've been doing that I would like to advise more of the public to do as far as the fraud goes. So those people that went into those accounts and withdraw it, they withdrew cash. The physical paper or cotton tender, right? So that's what
Yeah.
the tax is
They,
made of.
they would have been better off going to buying a bunch of gold. Can never be taken away from you.
No. Even better. Buying pennies in the lowest denomination of coin you can get, because it's legal tender. It is guaranteed not to deflate, and so because it holds face value, and because of the physical metal content inside of there. Have you guys? So what I've been doing out is buying boxes of pennies. Because I have a business onto there, you can actually get boxes of pennies as a business, and it's $25 of just fucking pennies. And that shit is like 30, 40 pounds. I shit you not. For
Yeah, but it's not all
$25.
copper. It's copper and nickel, isn't it?
No. There's no copper in it. It's mostly zinc and magnesium.
That's right.
Yeah, we quit using copper, I think, in 85 on coins.
Right.
Just in general, like if you here's the problem is that we always put everything into this is one of the problem. This is the problem. Like open up your brain. Everyone thinks about value in monetary gains. It's like, okay, so when I moved to Russia, I plan on not thinking that way anymore. Like I want to build my house out of stone so it doesn't fucking fall over. Or like out of hardwood that lasts 100 years. Like and if I buy something, it will have that's a condition, right? Like it has to have that. And then I want to start doing stuff like first right off the bat, a crucible, like Eric was talking about, or like I want to get a crucible. I want to get like hard metal shop tools, like that I can leave in there and don't ever have to move again. They just live there forever, inside my stone house that then my kids will inherit and then have, this collection of valuable tools. But if you think about something like a crucible, if you're melting metals, it's not all that valuable. I mean, I guess you could like melt bronze and sell it to people, but it's like most of the time the form that it's in is better. Like if you're doing shell casings, it's better just to keep them in that form rather than melt them down. You can sell them back for more value. But if you're not thinking in terms of financial use, if you're thinking in terms of what I can build with this, then like metals and stuff like that start having a whole lot of value. I mean, if you can roll your own sheets of steel, roll your own sheets of copper, make your own jewelry, make your, do stuff like that, make buckles, make handles, hinges, then throw welding in on top of that. Now, you're quickly on your way to self-sustainability, and all this stuff has a different kind of intrinsic value. And even
I get you.
And even in those situations, I still think that silver and gold is the best.
I mean, knowledge and tools are probably some of the most valuable things on the planet, in my opinion.
Sure. And I mean, I'm telling you that knowledge needs to start with stop building your fucking houses out of plywood and cardboard. Like that's step one.
I mean, if you're concerned with, first off, you have to plant your family in a place you want to stay forever, and that you want to make sure your kids are going to want to stay forever.
You don't even need to think about it that way. You just need to think about it.
No, you kind of do.
No, you need to think about it in the sense.
If you want to build a family estate, then that totally makes sense.
I just want to think bigger than that. Like, why can't you have two of those? Like, once you have one, like, why can't you get another? Or why can't you buy one down the street? Or why can't you buy one in your next favorite place to live?
What are nails made of?
Steel. Mild steel.
And steel iron?
Yes. It's iron. It's iron impregnated with oxygen.
Because back when I was telling you about that box of pennies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a box of pennies is $25. I'm looking at a 30-pound box of nails, and they want anywhere from $40 to $70. Now, I don't know what those nails are made out of, but I can only imagine that if you were to forge pennies, I know that is illegal to do, you can't deface currency. But if somebody were to physically have all his pennies and smelt them, I don't see any reason why you couldn't reforge these into nails or screws or whatever piece of metal that you need out of it. And that would technically still be cheaper than buying the nails. It's like what you said, get a crucible and forge them out yourself. And
No.
buying the pennies and
No.
using the metal that way.
No way. That shit's so fucking cheap. The nails are made out of just like the cheapest metals, man. Like all that stuff's like so Chinesium now. Like I've worked on houses that were like built in the like late 1800s, early 1900s, and like the materials that they're made out of, like the nails that you pull out of the wall, are made out of completely different materials than the stuff that nails. Like I say that they're made out of out of mild steel, but that's probably a compliment. Like
No, they're not mild steel anymore.
like what? I mean, they're probably just trash. I mean, I would imagine. I don't really know, but like. They're probably some like alloy that's made out of the cheapest stuff they can possibly get a nail into a wall out of. You know what I mean? So, but just the energy transfer of the cost of energy to have to heat that steel up, or that whatever that cheap alloy is, to heat it up, melt it down, and reforge it is definitely not worth the time.
Well, I mean, if you want to make that argument, and I'll agree with you onto that one, the cost of forging and making pennies right now, it costs more to make a penny than the physical face value of the penny itself. You guys following that?
Yeah, I understand.
For the most part,
I understand that, but the reason
nails are steel.
But the reason why that is because currency isn't worth dick, and the price will probably stay at the cost of what that metal is worth, plus the cost to transform it into another simple shape. And I guarantee you that if that wasn't the case, that people probably do still buy this up for long term, thinking that the value of those metals will go up, and they're probably right. But for like any sort of short term practical purposes in building or making money, no, it's just not. It's not worth it.
Short term, possibly, but in the history books, the same thing fucking happened to gold. The same thing happened to silver.
Well, yeah, but it's okay. Hear me out. If that's something you're interested in, I know guys that do this kind of stuff. Go out to the shooting range and shovel the mounds. You'll get way more, super fast, super cheap, and you'll have so much goddamn metal you won't know what to do with it. And you can just
Lead, but yeah.
Not necessarily. There's all different kinds of stuff out there, like.
I mean, it's mostly lead though.
Lots of steel, lots of copper, all the shell casings, tons. So I'm saying you just have so much metal you won't know what to do with it.
I think what you're missing the point onto here is, and I know I've gone over this before about the whole consequence of the Ponzi scheme onto there, and they had to quit using gold, and they had to quit using silver, then they had to quit using copper. If the writing already isn't on the wall that they cannot use coins because they debase currency, and when you debase a currency, it means the face value that's printed onto there can no longer be the face value of what you state it is. And so the government's going to have to quit using any currency as far as a physical commodity, whether it's zinc, magnesium, whether it's gold, silver. They have to quit doing it because the rate at what they're inflating this currency, the time that
they don't really need to remake that stuff. Like the thing, there's just a misnomer about cash and change, is that there isn't a whole lot in circulation. There doesn't really need to be. Like, as long as the population stays the same, you only have to refresh that currency every once in a while. It's real cheap to do. It's not a big deal, because there is no underlying value. It's just the value it costs. Like when the government throws away $15 trillion a year, do you really think they give a flying hooey about every 5 years having to spend $50 billion to refresh the cash supply, as far as like just the physical stuff that we exchange? They just don't care. Like, they just don't give a hooey.
Because nobody uses it anymore.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's irrelevant. It's relevant. It's just an artifact of an old model that still sits around. But the cost and the idea that there's this value associated with that stuff in any sort of like, I know you really want like a gold standard, and so you think in standards, but that's just not how currency works. That's one of the reasons why currency does not work, is because it's not backed by anything. You have control over it. You get to just choose what it's worth.
No, that's how currency used to work, and that's how it's always worked. And when you debase it, is when all the problems begin to happen.
I'm not arguing there. I'm not arguing there. We're not gonna. We don't need to argue over standards. I'm just saying, I don't really like currency. Like, I don't like any kind of goddamn standard for currency. I think it's stupid. I know it's like.
I like standards. I like standards and rules and measurements. They make things possible. They make things understood.
I just don't think things. I don't think things need to cost money.
That's a different argument. Yeah, that's a different argument, and that's communism. What it sounds like.
No, I'm not interested in communism. I'm not interested in some group of people defining what currency is and then redistributing that.
You just said things should be free.
Yeah, but that's not what communism is. Communism is where someone. See, that's what I mean. You have this fundamental misconception about what currency is, like what money is. So you're telling a state that it can create this thing called money, and then it has control over how that money is distributed. Nothing in any of my belief systems says that that's okay. I just want that to be very clear. Whether it's capitalist, whether it's communist, whether, I don't care what it is. Here's the thing, is if there is an intrinsic value in gold, I just want it to have that value. I don't want to have every other material based off of this one other material. Like, I just don't think humans need to do that at all. Like, I think we can just trade. Like, I don't think we really need to have these standardized currencies. I've heard, I
kind of agree with you in a way.
Here's the thing. Let me tell you where my belief system stops here, because it's important. That I'm kind of being a little bit of a Greta Thunberg here and going like, well, I just see the problem, I don't see the solution, and it's true. I don't think there's been enough effort put into that. Like, it's so hard to get people to drop the whole freaking money, Jewish usury thing, that they can't drop that guard far enough. And I feel like if you can just drop that far enough, and we can start having a philosophical conversation about how to live life without money, then like, have that conversation, like, meet me there in the metaphysics. Like, all these other ones don't work, an economy, a currency,
those are normal things. That's good things to have.
I'm not sure I agree.
You can't have somebody live in
I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I agree.
Then you can have your own opinion on it, and I'm giving you my
sure. And that's what I'm trying to say. I will meet you. What I'm trying to tell you is I will meet you in the middle, and go, okay, yes, I agree. When we're talking politics, that like there's a system in place, and we can have a discussion on how that system is used. But if you poke further at me and look for what my utopian ideal is, it doesn't use that system at all. That's all I'm trying to say, is that within the system, we can discuss the best way to manage your finances, right? Like, yes, I agree with you. Like, gold, silver, and these standards are the best way to do it with the system we have. No doubt. I'm not here to argue with you about that. I'm just saying, if you keep poking that bear and want the real truth out of me, I go, fuck that whole system. Fuck that whole thing. The whole thing. Just throw it away, please. Then let's have a different conversation. That's all. But I'm a pragmatist when it comes to how I approach my way to live my life. Like, yes, I want that as a utopian ideal, but like, I still got to use the financial system one way or another. So yeah, you're right. I think the standards are better. I think low taxes are better. I'm very libertarian. I would love some kind of backed currency, and I wish that there wasn't.
I think
if we're gonna have usury, that's fine, but stop using leverage. Like being able to leverage 1 million times what's actually in the system is freaking ridiculous.
Yes, and you can't do that when you have a standard.
I agree. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Is that if you're using their system, I believe that there's these regulations you can put in place to swing that system in your favor.
Using that system, they have no standard now.
No, they do. I mean, they largely. I mean, really, at this point.
No, they don't. They don't.
That's
using gold as a standard.
Dude, they do have a standard. But see, that's just incorrect. It's called the petrodollar for a reason, and I would even go to say that it's probably more like the drug human trafficking dollar at this point. And I really think that that's where the real money comes from. And that's one of the reasons why if you're building houses, they're made out of trash, they aren't worth anything. And if you're trading on this market, it's so hard to get ahead because you're not dealing in oil, humans, or drugs. And that's the truth. So, yeah, if you're dealing in gold, which is no longer the standard, if you're not dealing in the standard anymore, no, you're not going to make any goddamn money. You know, BlackRock has capital, and even nowadays, I would even say like propaganda porn is another one of those. You know, if your money's not based on that, like you're probably not making it, and that's one of the reasons why I think YouTube's a good place to go make money, because that's where a bunch of the money's getting dumped into right now. It's easy to get 250,000 viewers and make $50,000 a year, do podcasting 3 or 4. Dude, it's just everybody. It's just humans are gross. They'll watch anything. It's just like I always say, you should open mini storages and trash companies and stuff like that, because just humans just consume shit all day, every day. We don't stop. Any business related to that stuff is a good one for a middle classer to get into.
I mean, that's fair.
Oh, it just is. All my best money I've ever made is in that stuff. You know, being a contractor, I made $3,000 demoing a sun tanning salon. You know, like to make the same amount of money doing, like concrete slabs and stuff would have been, like half as much money after it was all given out and taking twice as much time.
No.
Yeah. It costs it pays way better to rip the drywall out than it does to put it back up.
Oh yeah.
You do specialized stuff. You do pools and stuff like that, which is damn near not pools, tile and showers, which is damn near artistry at this point. It's like a lost trade. Actually, I have a lot of respect for you and getting a tile trade. Like I just want to move to Russia and just like learn stone. I want to become a mason. Just work on stone and.
Stone's actually extremely easy.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I've been watching videos, but just in general, like really simple tool trades, like how you're getting into welding. You're getting into welding. You've been doing tile for a long time. Like I think those are like some of the most respectable trades, like of the highest moral standard to me, in my mind.
I won't argue with you.
I mean, when it comes to labor, I really do. I really feel like it. You're building things to last. You're building things that you want to stick around. You're not doing, you're not building your houses out of tissue paper. It's unfortunately that most of your canvases are these gosh darn tissue paper places. Imagine if people really cared about.
All right.
Imagine if people really cared.
There's a lot I can do about that.
Imagine if people really cared, and people really put like valuable materials into their houses and really cared about stuff. Then even your like wealthier people would just do grand bathrooms and really, I kind of like this. And this is a much more Eastern approach too, just so you know. Like this is real. It's kind of hidden from us. But they have this kind of culture of building to withstand time. You see videos where China, like cities in China will fall over. It's propaganda. Like that's just not how it is over there.
What is with that? Why do they keep saying that all these buildings are pieces of shit and wrecking them all?
I do think China has this weird tendency to like take on projects that are so goddamn large, and they're so corrupt that when they get towards the tail end of these projects, that they're just so overbuilt and the materials have they're getting to the cheapest of cheap materials that they like will overbuild. I've seen it with their battery powered cars, their electric cars, all that kind of stuff. They've done it with solar, they've done it with wind. But if you think about the scale of China and you see like this little region where they demo like 3 or 4 buildings, I don't really think it's that much in the grand scheme of things. I think it's more like anti-Chinese propaganda. I'm not saying China ain't.
In a weird kind of way, I guess it makes sense a little bit. But
I'm not real pro China. I'm not saying I want to move to China, and I think that China is great. I'm just thinking that those particular videos, I think, are anti-Chinese propaganda. This is my personal opinion. So I just take them kind of for face.
There's a difference between communism and the supposed capitalism here in America.
No, see, communist. That's a problem. That's an inversion, man. We are not capitalists. We are communist. They are capitalist. Like we were just talking about various conspiracy theories. Hang on. Let me get this out.
Please repeat what you just said. Can you please repeat what you just said? At the very, very beginning.
Inversion. It's the inversion.
Just that first sentence.
The inversion. It's the only
what?
The inversion of words. They are a capitalist society. We are a communist society. They do not okay. They
So
hang on, please
right
let me
there.
finish,
Just
please.
that right there.
Please hang on, please.
No. Just that right there. Just that right there. Did you just say China is capitalism and America is communist? I just want to make sure I heard that. I'm not arguing anything else. I just want to make sure that's what I heard.
That's exactly what I said. Okay.
You can say anything else you want to do after that. I'm just.
Please let me continue. Okay. Chinese tax rates are far lower than United States tax rates. They do not distribute the wealth of the citizens. They do not take the wealth from one group of people and give it to another. They do take money at a surprisingly low tax rate from the Chinese citizenry and give them services back. They aren't always the best services, but they are available. Russia, another good example. They have a VAT tax. They have a legit lower than 20% tax rate, and they get a bunch of free stuff. The West has roughly a 50 to 60% tax rate. They love to take money from one color of skinned people and give it to another color of skinned people. They love to redistribute wealth, and they have incredibly high taxes. And they do not give us services in returns aside from roads and bombing brown people. They give us nothing. They give us hate. That is communism. Now, Russia, from the 30s through the 60s, that was communism. They killed a F-load of Christians, and they redistributed the wealth. Yes, that is communism. Russia and China today are not communist. They might be called communist, but they are absolutely not. They are capitalist. They are traitors. In fact, for the most part, they are not colonizers. They have their territory, and around that, there are some disputes around the edge of their territory, but they are not colonial. They stand their ground, and they hold their values, which is capitalist. It is capitalist. I do agree that Russia and China have very strong oligarchical roots, and they're borderline benevolent tyrannies. And in China, you could even probably argue that it's not really benevolent tyranny, but depends on how you look at the length and the life of China as a whole, and whether or not you think that Xi's a bad guy. You really got to think about a little bit longer term than 20 or 30 years. If he stabilizes China for the next 200 years, is that a good ruler? Same with Putin.
As long as you got that recorded, your statement.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'll openly say this. I'll say this is a dinner table, and I'll have people throw food at me. Don't worry.
No, I gotta agree with them, man. The United States is turning communist more and more every day. You can't argue against that.
Well, I would also say that the moment that you went off a standard back in 1933 is the moment all that stuff started going out the window.
Oh, way before 1913. Way before that. I mean, that is definitely a defining moment. It's definitely a defining moment.
Jake, here's where I think you went wrong. Never compare America to China. It's instantly going to get you hate.
I don't care, man. I'm just going to call it how I see it. And I told you, I don't have enough. Hey, listen. I said, I don't have enough experience to tell you how it is. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just telling you that they are capitalist and we are communist. That's all I'm saying. I'm making no claim about the morality or anything beyond that. I'm just talking about the isms. when you describe the ism of communism, you talk about a redistribution of wealth. China doesn't do it. The United States does. Like, that's just the isms. You know, like, you've got to be careful. Like, if you're going to use these words, you need to use them correctly. Like, it upsets me. I'm an English teacher.
But that's the entire point of everything that's happened in the United States in the last 30, 40 years is to completely twist up words to the point where nobody knows what means what. And if you confuse everybody to what means what and what's right, what's wrong, now you can do whatever the fuck you want without anybody challenging you, because nobody knows what the word means anymore.
I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. I'm saying if you're going to use these isms to describe a government, you better be clear. You cannot call China communist and United States capitalist. It's a lie. It's a lie. You go look up the definitions of those words, and that is incorrect statement. It's false. Didn't happen.
Real quick for you. I got a real quick question for you. What is the name of the leading party in China?
The Communist Party. The China's Communist Party. Correct.
But they're not communists, though, right?
Nope.
Even though it's their name.
Hey, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists that were a part of the U.S. government, two of the first parties, and you should know this. The Federalists took that name. Those were the liberals. They took the name Federalist, and the Federalists had to rename themselves the Anti-Federalists, which is actually goes against the definition of what Federalist means. The definition of federalism is a confederation of states. The Federalists were against that. They were against the states having power. They made the Federalists rename themselves to the opposite of their belief system. Do you understand this? And those are the guys who wrote the Constitution. They were Federalists that had to name their party the Anti-Federalists because people don't understand English. Because liberals have always been good at twisting and inverting words. Since the beginning, since forever. This is not new. This is just like inherent, like basic level witchcraft they use. They've always used it. They've always used it. I wrote a paper on this, particularly about that Federalist Anti-Federalist thing, because it drove me nuts when I first read about that. Because I realized how confusing that must have been for people at the time. Like, that must have been a really tough one. Like, who am I supposed to get behind? Like, if I'm really involved in politics, who am I supposed to get behind? Like, this is all fuckery. Like, who am I supposed to trust? You know, like, the words don't even make sense. They're all using the wrong words. And they're all young, you're all wearing powdered wigs. What the hell is going on? It's seriously, it's the same shit. It's like nothing's changed. And at the time, I can't remember, but the liberals, like when I wrote the paper back in like 2005 or something like that, when I was in university, the liberals were doing some stupid shit with this word inversion at the time, and I can't remember what it was, but I'm telling you, it's just that they're always doing it. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
I mean, Black, you can't argue with his logic.
Well, I see that it's not even making logic. I mean, I'm not 100% sure about the whole Federalist Papers. That was a little bit long ago, and I don't have all my research onto it. And sure, there may be just words, but literally when they call themselves the Chinese Communist Party or I forget what the Russian one is.
They've also twisted words. Like, those words don't mean what they used to mean. That's the whole point of it.
Well, and I understand that because there is no standard. The same way that when we say money, it used to be gold and silver as a standard. We have no standards. You still say it's money. I disagree.
Hey, hang on, Luke. I want to describe something. So think of it from
black.
Black. Please. I'm smiling. I'm sorry. I got you. So imagine if you are so libertarian that you think a 30% tax rate and returning some services to the people for that is communist. That's your threshold for communism. Anything above that is just even unacceptable. You get what I'm saying? There's this notion that once you're inside the system, you have to like look out from the eyes that you have in the system, like where we come from. And I even think that the eyes that we're looking with are kind of skewed if you're looking at it from an American perspective and thinking that you're a capitalist and this place is a communist. You see how freaking messed up that is to me? Like if you just really look at it from a libertarian perspective, and you look over at communist China, you go, okay, that is communism. 30%, that's a whole lot of money. That's more than anyone else. You know, like you better get some services in return for that. You know what I'm saying? You see the perspective I'm coming from?
I see it.
Like 60% and nothing in return is terrible. It's worse than communism. That's like some other word that we don't even have a name for. That's actually
highway robbery.
Actually, there is a name for it.
Robbery is what it is.
There actually is a name for it. It's called austerity.
Slavery?
No, it's called austerity. No, that's
I like
it's
word better.
What is it?
Slavery.
Well, so here's the name. It's called austerity, and what it literally means is to tax the crap out of your population and take services away to make money for the government. It's what it's called. And more often than not, these austerity measures are used to pay debt to other countries that debt is owed to. It's something that the IMF did with the euro dollar, and that's how they're collapsing economies and made everyone join NATO. It was a tool that they use, austerity, which is like even worse than communism. They just like started buckling economies. Like, here's your bill. Like a little country go, hey, you have a $500 billion bill now, and we devalue your currency. Good luck paying it. So the country has to like take the services away and tax their country to pay the bill, or their government's going to get owned. It's called austerity.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening.
Wow. Only that's government to government. We're not paying. The United States isn't paying a government anymore. The United States is now paying Vanguard and the Federal Reserve. So that's I'm telling you, we don't even have a word for that yet. Like we haven't made up a word for that kind of ism.
What are they paying? More importantly, what are they paying them?
Debt. I mean, really. Inflation for the U.S. citizen.
They're paying them a depreciating asset.
Yeah, but
depreciating.
You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, what it does is it just devalues Americans' currency. That's all it does. It moves wealth. If you look at it as a zero-sum game and there's X amount of dollars, that number can change. It doesn't matter how big a portion of that pie is in the hands of the elites. That's all that matters, and that piece of that pie keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you look at the pie on a 3D model, where they push the wealth down, like the average overall wealth, they push that down for everyone as well. So everyone's becoming more poor. There isn't like these groups of people that are doing well over others. Everybody's poor. I'm telling you, we don't even have an ism for that yet. I'm not sure what it's called. Why does it keep doing that same one?
That's called communism.
No, it's worse. That's what I'm saying. Communism is very specific, right? Like, communism is a redistribution of wealth within the society. So, like, if you have a wealthy...
I mean, that's not my definition of communism. My definition of communism is just an unelected bureaucracy in perpetuity.
Well, I mean, those are just things associated with that, right? Like, those are artifacts of the model that are like, that don't necessarily have to be there. So, if you have a utopian point of view, like, you could theoretically do communism without such government inefficiency. Like, you could make it more efficient. So, like, you could give it that. It just doesn't work. It's not about how efficiency. It just always ends up, layering itself in bureaucracy from a pragmatic standpoint. So it just doesn't work. But you could theoretically have some like super powered AI that just does all that management for you and don't have to worry about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And then like some loose form of communism could work, and then you don't have to have currency or something. But like we don't have any of that. Like that's not tech we possess. In fact, all the tech that seems to be built in that way seems to be getting built in an exact opposite way, which is, hey, teach these things how to take wealth from everybody in the world and give it to like just the people who have this tech. That's like legit all they do. I saw this interview with Mr. Beast. Dude, oh my God, it was so scary. Mr. Beast is such a freaky individual.
How so?
Oh God, he's such a creeper. He goes, like, someone says, "Do you want a Neuralink?" He was getting an interview, and he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, with like access to infinite energy or infinite information, I could just make an infinite amount of money. It's like, if that's your first response, is that I just want to make an infinite amount of money? Like, you're a psychopath. You're a psychopath. If that's what you like, you wouldn't get a brain implant so you can make infinite money. Like, he started going off about how, like, when you die, it goes black and that's it. That's all there is. Like, he's a freaky individual. He's a fucking psycho. I was like, oh my God, you just triggered. Like, I study psychos, and I'm like, you just triggered up like 18 out of 22, boy. Like, you're just hiding those. You're hiding your power level on those other 4. You wish you could say how much you think your fans are bugs. You won't, but you wish you could. Fucking crazy. I should find that interview and save it. It was a really good documentary on Mr. Beast, in particular his early career.
I have seen a whole bunch of like kind of lately.
Yeah.
Of Mr. Beast.
Well, yeah.
Beast with like red eyes and shit like that. Like people saying he's the devil and shit like
There's
that.
a lot of trash out there, but I like to find, you know me, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at finding like the really good documentaries. I'll have to find it and give it to you guys. There's this really good documentary. It doesn't say he's the devil. He just goes and finds old footage and goes like, what do you think of this? You know, but I'm telling you, I'm creeped out by the footage. Not what the dude said, by the series of clips that he put, you know, like, and he does a good job editing. Good job giving context. Like, he was talking about, like, this video got removed where he was talking about his Beamer, and like he kind of, like, at the end of this video, like, out of nowhere, he starts like getting like really sociopathic talking about like his views on money and stuff, and you're like, whoa, that's creepy, you know. and then you go to find out that those videos were deleted by his PR team, and they were archived by guys a long time ago. Pedo stuff, like all kinds of creepy stuff. Like, he said and did creepy ass stuff back in the day. Stuff that like you and I would never say. Never in a million years. You know? Yeah, like I would never. He had Shadman posters in the background of his videos. Who the hell puts Shadman posters up? Do you know who Shadman is, Eric?
No.
Black, you know who Shadman is, right?
No.
You don't? Exactly. That's how creepy it is. No. That's how creepy it is. I'm sure you've seen Shadman on 4chan Black. It's that.
Maybe
I'm afraid to say the words. It's that LOLI stuff.
I still don't know what the Shadman is.
You know what that word I just spelled is, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That he had that stuff on his walls in his videos. And he's like 25, you know, like he's way too old to be having that kind of stuff on his, like, no, you're a pedo. I would never consider putting pictures like that up on anywhere on a phone background. Like, what? He's been one of those. He's a map, dude. You know what map means, Eric?
No.
Minor attracted person. It's a soft way to say the word that gets people in trouble.
Got it.
So it's a way you can say it and everyone will understand. No, creepy.
I don't really pay attention to those.
Totally creepy. Totally creepy. And if you think about like the amount of wealth he had, like, and so he would get to, like, you know, engage in his like worst dreams, you know. So I undoubtedly.
I mean, he's involved in a ridiculous amount of philanthropy. And
you know what though? This is the problem. Is that there's videos of him saying the only reason I'm a philanthropist because I know that it'll make me an ungodly amount of money. He goes, this is an investment in my channel to make the best YouTube videos ever. He's like, I don't care about these people, you know, like and he like talks about how he's going to manipulate the situation, and he does, and like it looks like he's giving away a bunch of money. He doesn't give away any money. He like if there's any way he can get away with keeping that money and not giving it to the people he says he's going to give it to, he's totally going to do it. Like no, he's awful. Like he's awful. No way. They're like the people who take the money. Don't get me wrong. Like I'll dance like a monkey for $200,000. You know, like if Mr. Beast came up to me and offered me $200,000 to dance like a monkey, I'd go, hell yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. You know, but nonetheless, like he's making way more than $200,000 to make me dance like a monkey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't care. It's a number.
That's just because of his subscriber count.
But he knows this.
You know, he's got so many people watching.
That's his plan. He talked about his first I even saw this video. It was so big that it ended up on my feed. I've never had another Mr. Beast video show up on my feed. Was that time several years ago where he gave $10,000 to a bum? Well, of course, people dug through his videos and found that he was like, okay, I've made enough money that I can make this kind of an investment. He's not doing it to be philanthropic. He straight up says, like, I don't care about bums. He's like, I know this will make good YouTube videos and I will get this money back. He's like doing it like an occult ritual on his video, going like, I know that I can make threefold, and he's repeating those words. It's a spell. He was casting a spell. And I mean, you know, you don't need to go into the witchcraft and stuff. I'm not saying that Mr. Beast is a witch. I'm just saying that he's clearly like repeating his intention of, I don't care about bums. I'm doing this to make money. I'm doing this to make money. I'm doing this to make money. Like, you know, he's making it very, very clear, his intention. You know what I mean? That's not philanthropy.
Which is fine. I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't really either. But to think that this guy's anything more than an entertainer, I'm not making
philanthropic things.
See, that's I don't believe in that. Like that's.
But but no more than any other company does, just to.
I don't think you can put a.
They have to do for.
I don't think you can put a. I don't think you can put a price on. You know, essaying kids. I think that if you go give a bunch of people lots and lots of money, no, I don't, and I'm not afraid to say it either. See, this is the problem. Is people are afraid to say this stuff. If you put posters of pornographic related map material in your videos when you're a grown man, you're a pedo, and that's all there is to it. You're willing to openly admit that to the public. I'm sorry.
What specifically are you talking about? What am I missing here?
I'm telling you, he had photos. He had prints from this guy named Shadman, who makes artwork that depicts maps in sexual positions. And he had these posters in the background.
Are you sure you didn't just not know what it was back in
the
day?
I never watched those videos back in the day. You would like, unless you were like one of his deepest subscribers, like you wouldn't have seen these videos. They're hell old. And you know, and it's coming out that a lot of his first subscribers were just that. They had some shared interests with him, including his co-star. So I mean, this is actually proving to be true, not false. Like this is proving to be true. That not only did he know about it, he was complicit in it, and he participated in it, and in the way of purchasing. No, 25 is not a kid, dude. I'm telling you, when I was 25, I knew way better than to go mess with children. What?
Okay, fair enough, but I'm talking about when he started YouTube when he was literally underage.
No, but I'm telling you when these videos were made. Listen to me about this. This is true. Listen, think about it this way. If we walked into our old buddy Chris's house, listen.
I give crap less about that guy. I really don't give a shit.
No, I'm just.
YouTube dude. Who gives a shit?
I don't really, other than it's like really gross. You know, it's just really disgusting. This is he's been like.
Yeah, but there's millions of gross people out there.
Sure. But someone brought it up.
Just a speck of sand in the fucking desert.
So someone brought it up, and I was going on a tirade.
Fair enough. But anyway, I'm over it. So.
That's good. I am too. I don't like to dwell on that stuff very much. I just kind of like see the big stories, find like one good video on it that could kind of give me a good update that isn't all that.
The YouTubers I watch that I like to watch are like the family man, like Fab Rats, for example.
Yeah,
like
I know.
He's a family man that lives in southern Utah, and he's got a big family, lots of kids, and he works on cars. Like, that's a good dude. You know what I mean?
100%. I agree with you. Really do.
Like, that's the kind of person I want to support.
I totally agree with you. I do. I actually stopped watching a lot of the true crime that I was watching because I felt like it's bad for you. That like watching too much of it, you know, like reading and thinking about other people's demise is.
Yeah, I've never been interested in any of that stuff.
Well, that way I got into it was I was really into interrogation videos, particularly like case studies on psychopaths and aberrant behavior. I was really into it. But then, like, as I ran out of content, I started watching that, like, low-effort, cheap true crime shit. You know, like the neighbor murdered the wife and, you know. Yeah, and it's not good for you. It's not.
Yeah, no, that shit's entertaining. It's not even interesting, really.
I'm kind of agreeing with you. I mean, I see
broken people doing broken shit
right,
because
yes.
our country has absolutely no mental health.
Are you familiar with the incredible stunt?
Sorry.
Advocates or anybody that's trying to actually help people. All you have is a whole bunch of people encouraging mental disabilities and people that are fucked up in the head and encouraging them to go down that dark rabbit hole of debauchery and bullshit.
I tend to agree. I tend to agree that it is. It's like that whole, saying about gossip is like the worst form of communication. I do feel like it's a form of gossip. That, you're really just like kind of prying into terrible situations in people's lives, and it is kind of like morally downstanding to engage with it too much. So I agree.
It's just like the news. It's just like the news that I haven't watched in over a decade. Like, I don't think I've tuned into the news in over a decade. Maybe 9/11 was the last time I watched major news. You know what I mean? Like,
excuse me.
Like, it's just all bullshit.
Dude,
it's just all bullshit, negativity, and fucking evil shit.
I mean, quite frankly, that's just like the world now. That's like one of the reasons why I just want to move out to the countryside in Russia. Like, Russia just like shuts all that stuff down, just doesn't allow it. And it doesn't. It's not that it restricts freedom of speech. It just doesn't. It has no interest.
Negativity breeds negativity.
It has no interest in information all the time. Like if you want to be in Russia, be pro-Russia. Like why is there any reason to be anything else?
The more you talk about something, the more it encourages people to do.
Right.
In my opinion.
But that's the culture here now. Like that's not the culture in Russia. Like the culture of Russia is to be Russian strong. Like we're a nation that's lasted over 1,000 years. We're going to continue to. Like United States has become like we care more about gossip than we do about the success of our and the future of any legacy. Like there's no concept of it.
Sure.
Oh my God! The world is burning. The world is coming to an end. Save us, big government. Save us, big government. The Republicans are like, oh my God, trannies are taking over. And the liberals are going, oh my God, everybody's taking over, Russians are over here being like, there's this religious land that we've been fighting over for the last, 1,200 years that's, 600 miles. Leave us alone. Let's fight over this shit.
Yeah.
Stay out of it. NATO? What the hell are you guys doing over here? You're not Russian. You're not Ukrainian. What do you care? You're not Donbass.
It's a little interesting. I don't understand why people need to get involved in other people's conflicts.
Dude, I don't. I don't. It's just like the whole Jewish-Palestinian thing. I'm like, first off, I'm like, why? Why are we involved? Why is it our issue? Why is our military over there? It's like if that group of countries over there decides that the Palestinians need to be protected, it's their right to protect them. You know? It's not the United States who has no stick in that game whatsoever culturally, land ownership-ly, has no stake. Why are they over there swinging dick for Israel? You know?
Who fucking knows?
Anyone who go over there and swing dick for Israel, like, say, you guys can come over here. You know, like, if you don't feel safe here anymore because you pissed off your neighbors so bad, come over here. But that's not what we do. We go, hey, yeah, we'll bomb a bunch of brown people for you. You know? Yeah, go ahead, use white phosphorus. Oh yeah, go ahead and occupy civilian territory. You know, that's not what's occurring here. I do think that there's a lot of this systems approach to localized issues like Syria. It's like the United States did stay out of that, thankfully. But it's like, why are everyone getting in fucking Syria's business? You know, like, why? Who are you? Like, come over and bomb Syria, like, while they're trying to figure shit out. Like, well, who are you? You know, who gives you the right to go kill? You're telling Syria that they can't bomb their civilians by bombing their civilians? Like, that's... What? Like, without getting into utopia... Yeah, but without getting into utopian ideals, you can have very pragmatic approaches to things over there. It's like, first off, with Israel and Palestine, like, why get involved? Why are we involved in this? First off, and then second, if we are going to be involved, why is our involvement not like, yeah, you guys need to figure that out? You know, I mean,
Who knows, man?
I mean, I know why, but that's why I don't watch. That's why I don't watch politics anymore either. You don't really need to anymore. You can kind of just like, it's kind of obvious. Like, you like accidentally see headlines and you'll know what's going on in the world.
No, I know. Yeah, it's true.
Like, people go, oh, you like clearly watch news. I'm like, no, I'm a prophet. I'm a prophet. I know these things. I don't have to watch any goddamn news. I haven't watched the second news in as long as I can remember. I just know. As soon as a sentence comes out of your mouth, I already know their game plan, you know?
I mean, it's pretty clear. We gotta admit.
I mean, I make a joke that I'm a prophet, but I mean, I think this is perfectly attainable knowledge for any human being. I mean, Black, you, any of you guys.
Pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. We're the nobodies.
Pay attention just a little bit. Really.
Seriously.
You don't have to pay attention all that much.
You just have to pull your head out of the sand and you shake it off, you know?
Yeah.
You can still eat the avocado toast. It's okay.
Avocado toast.
No, like, people get so wrapped up. You know, like, people get so wrapped up in like the name of the game. It's like you're really gonna fight over avocado toast and whether or not that's like a liberal ideal. It's like, who gives a shit? Eat some avocado toast. You know, like it doesn't define you. It's a false dichotomy.
Clearly, it does some people.
It's a false dichotomy. Idiots can eat avocado toast, and good people can eat avocado toast too. False dichotomy. Actually, that's like a really good entry-level way just to kind of look at the world, is just to kind of strip down a couple of false dichotomies. And like the easiest one is Republican Democrat right there. There's the first false dichotomy. Playing a game?
True enough.
You playing a game?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. What are you playing?
I just timber barn.
Yeah.
I'm just clicking building stuff.
Black, what are you doing?
Then just browse and pull, and then I'm gonna get ready to shower here in a bit.
Here, let me throw up a couple.
You really need.
Go ahead.
I was saying for Handy's you really gotta get on Siege. I think it's a great one.
At some point I will. In a week, there's a game I've been playing for a super long time that's coming out 1.0, and I'm going to be playing that.
You know what? If all three of you,
while.
if we get all three of us to play a game, I'd play it. I'd even stream it.
Well, I'm going to be playing Satisfactory with a few people.
You know what? I can install Satisfactory. It's really low risk to get and reinvolve it. All I got to do is just reinstall and goof off, right?
Yeah.
Huh, I might do that. I like that. Oh, let's do it. Let's do a 1.0. When is it?
The 10th.
On the 10th? What day is that? That's a Tuesday? I've actually wanted to start podcasting on Tuesdays. Let's do it. You want to do it? You want to do a 1.0?
Yeah.
Tuesday night?
Sure.
Cool.
Basically, when I get home from work, that's what I'll be doing. Is just playing.
Black, do you want to join us?
Asleep.
Hey, Black, do you want to join us?
Join what?
A Satisfactory server?
I don't have it.
I do. I have an extra.
Goodbye.
I have an extra copy. Remember, Eric?
Oh, is it free?
No, I have an extra copy. Remember, Eric? I bought a second account to run servers.
No, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I remember that server was run on a completely different account. Like I have an extra. I have a second Steam account that's got a bunch of extra copies of games on it. Like I have an extra copy of Arma. I've got an extra copy of Satisfactory. All the multiplayer games I used to run servers on, I had to buy physical copies of them from Steam. So I have this extra account that's got a bunch of games on it.
Nice.
So yeah, Black, I got a free copy for you if you want to give it a shot.
I'm just basically gonna host a server and leave it running all the time. So.
You should. You have the best machine now. I'm still thinking about getting a dual Xeon system though. I really want to do a dual 3 gigahertz.
When you get it, I'll send you the game file and you can run it.
I really want to get a dual 3 gigahertz. Actually, I think the 3.1 gigahertz Xeons. They're 12 core,
Yeah.
so it'd be 24 cores, and I think I'd throw like 64 gigs of ECC RAM into both of them, and probably
Right.
get, and then, but then I could run like anything. I could run like anything. And, you know, I can do it for like $400.
Do it.
All I got to do is buy the memory and the chips and the bare bones. That's all I need. And then I can shift my i9 down into my media PC. And then I can start running. I've been emulating games, right? But I like my kid and I play Switch games all the time. Wii games. I'm sorry, not Switch games, Wii games. But my multimedia PC that I use for that isn't powerful enough to run to emulate Switch in the newer systems. But if I drop my i9 in it, if I upgrade that system, then I can run like all the newest Nintendo games in my living room, like all systems, like whatever I want to play. I've gotten really good at running emulators.
I would not talk about Nintendo on a recording.
I don't really care.
Nintendo will ruin your fucking life. They don't care who you are.
Fair. You know what? I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. You're right. That is something I should probably be sensitive about. Something tells me that considering I have no views, it doesn't matter, and I'm going to have to go back and remove stuff out of this because people will make video of me in the future going, "Oh, that Mr. NonProphet was a pirate. He's a thief. He's always been a thief. Look at these videos." You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different when you purchase media and then you go, like, because you have an old Nintendo system, right? With
Dude, I've bought all that stuff so many gosh darn times. Like, that's the thing, is that, like, a lot of this media...
The point is there's something that people already own, and they're just putting it in a different format. And as far as the law works, that's... You know what I mean? There's
unfortunately that's not how the law works. The way the law works is that it's every individual piece of media is copyrighted. So when let's say, hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you the truth about this. Is that like when you go and download a certain copy of, say, a Disney movie through peer-to-peer, what happens is that that particular set of movies is flagged, and it's copyright protected, and you don't have the right to distribute that, and you are. If there's a different copy that does not have distribution rights on it, you can't distribute it. Like different ones that have like are different quality, even, like there's ways around this. Now, if you own, like, let's say you own Fast and the Furious. This has happened to me. You own Fast and the Furious. I own Fast and the Furious. I own like 3 copies of it over my life. I downloaded it. I got a distribution warning because I am redistributing it. It doesn't matter how many copies I own. And if you're doing that peer-to-peer, you're distributing that copy, which is illegal for you to do. Because I showed the company that I showed pictures like I own this DVD, and they said, no, that's not the problem. You're distributing it. So there is no real way around that. Right, but there is no way around that. If you're going to be a pirate, you're a distributor. If you're going to be a pirate, like peer-to-peer is pirating, like that. Pirating is the other way around now. It's giving. It's not receiving. It's giving.
I understand, but as soon as you get it all fully downloaded, you take it off the queue so it can no longer be distributed.
Unfortunately, you've already broken the law at that point, though.
I know.
Really,
I understand,
the only way around this is to move to a country that doesn't care about those laws. And those laws, they do not care. So, like, if I move to Russia, they do not care if I steal from Disney. It's not illegal to do that there. Okay. You are allowed to redistribute their stuff. Now, that goes, this is kind of a pro about moving to Russia, right? Like, Russia doesn't have as much state media that is protected that they don't want you to distribute. So they don't really care if you're distributing stuff like Sony. They may be friends with China, and if China wants that data, they can have it. And China is pretty strict on that kind of stuff. So if you're distributing Sony stuff, China may, through expedition processes, like mass sue people in Russia for stealing that. Make sense? But it would probably be limited to Chinese intellectual rights. Like I'm telling you, like, they're not going to care about Disney. Disney's a competitor. Like, why would they? They want you to steal that stuff. They want you to devalue it. They don't want Disney receiving money from that. So it just really depends on where you live and how you look at it. And then you can throw VPNs to the mix, and then you can go about your business, and it's a whole lot harder to detect. It still can be detected, but it's harder. So, but
sure.
Now I almost feel like it's your duty to be a pirate at this point. I don't think you should be stealing intellectual property rights while you're in the United States. I think that's probably just stupid and breaking the law. But if you have a way to essentially archive material, you should, and it's a duty to. Like particularly old stuff, I think it's a duty. Like, I've been getting copies of Tolkien's work, Bibles. Like, I collect books. I collect media on drives. I save those drives. Collect old versions of Disney movies that are unaltered that I know AI has not gotten to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a duty to do this stuff. Get PDFs of books, as many of them as you can, before they've been altered and thrown away. Like, you should do this. You should steal data. Records.
That's the unfortunate part about media these days is the how much things are modified and gotten rid of or completely rewritten.
I have this like weird philosophy that like we've reached a period in time where we have to start writing stuff down in stone again because it can't be AI manipulated. Like that we need to take these like you can't see my stream right now, but like I have a lot of that Anunnaki stone carving stuff. That like real high technology.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to put up a video right now. I kind of want to end on this. This will be. We can cut it off here in a couple of minutes. Let me show you a couple of videos. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Or I can do sound only if you prefer. Like whatever you want. Like if you're playing a video game and you'd rather just listen, I can do that too.
Are you familiar with the incredible stuff?
I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm not.
Are you familiar?
Don't really have any agenda today. I'm just chilling, man. I did want to show you a couple of videos before we went. Okay, here we go. These are these like really advanced pottery stuff that's like laser cut, and this is like 30,000 years old, and they're all over the place. There's like 200,000 of them, and nobody knows.
Right.
Yeah. Wake up! I put a post on.
Through Discord.
Oh, yeah, you're not. Okay. I thought I had, my bad.
Well, there's yeah.
Do you guys want
Much lag
do you
to
do you guys want sound or not?
No.
Okay.
Would you
I
guys
just
vote disagree?
you can just see the bulls. This is Uncharted X guy. Does fantastic videos. He's on Joe Rogan all the time. Him and this that Johanna girl I showed you, they're kind of like cutting edge with their teams and taking out really sophisticated equipment and getting records that no one's got before, measurements no one's got before, and taking it to leading experts in those fields. Like, they're really high tech, rather than the old school archaeological approach. They're taking a very industrial, cutting it, like how do we remanufacture this stuff, like a reverse engineering with modern technology, and it's impressive. Yeah. But just how and these were clearly everyday items for these people, these bowls, and they have properties that we've never experienced before in these kinds of things. Let me see if I can find this one part of the video. There's this really cool part of the video. I'm not sure if I have it on this one. They're spinning the bowls. They spin the bowls, and they have these the bottoms of the bowls are these compound curvature. I've talked about these curvatures before. They're kind of like new. AI invented them or discovered them. These supersymmetric arc shapes where the bowl, when you spin it, it will only wobble a certain amount and returns back to its original location. We don't know how to reproduce this. So these round-bottomed, self-stabilizing bowls that you can set on counters that won't fall off counters. See all those bowls, how they're just sitting there on those flat pieces of wood? Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I see them.
And I'm telling you, they just sit there. They're round bottom and they don't fall over. They're super symmetrical shapes that have impeccable balance, and that when they're tipped, they will return back to their original position.
Well, that's because they're weighted on the bottom.
Yes, but I'm telling you, we don't have this technology that we can reverse engineer it, but we had to put AI. We had to laser.
Just because we don't use it doesn't mean
No,
we couldn't do it.
no. We could not do it until we measured them. We had to measure them before we could do it. We took laser, we took laser measurements of these things and found out they were more precise than machines that we have can make. We cannot make these shapes. We do not have the machines that can do that. And on top of that, the shapes that they are made out of were not known to us. We didn't know how to make these shapes. And in fact, to understand the shapes and to understand the physics behind the shapes, we had to put them through algorithms that unveiled these supersymmetrical curvatures. And now we understand them. So we discovered through measuring these things and then taking that mathematics and putting it through, essentially when I say it was put through an AI, so scientists could have figured this out, but they'd have to go put these through a bunch of hand calculatable stuff, or stuff that's already machine learned anyways. Stuff that machine programs that use this kind of mathematics to be able to solve these equations. So you just have AI do it for you instead, and it goes, oh shit, these are a bunch of the compound supersymmetrical shapes. We do kind of understand these shapes, but we had no idea you could use them like this, And so now we know how. And now we can reproduce them, but it's going to take 5 years of the industry all putting their head together to be able to recreate this. They cannot do it yet. We do not have the machines. They have to go create the machines now. And 30,000-year-old object, measuring 30,000-year-old objects is what taught us. It's impressive.
It is. I won't argue with you there.
And I'm telling you, the properties of these bowls, I'm telling you, there's over 200,000 of these were discovered in one place, and I think they're found in a few different places, and there's 300,000 or 400,000 of them. There's like 200,000 that are intact. Like it's an insane amount. They're very incredibly durable. They're made out of 2 or 3 of the hardest stones in the world, and we don't know how to recreate these shapes with stones of this hardness. You'll see a bunch of them are black, and this is like if you work in stone, you'll know this about black stone like this. Black granite is some of the hardest stuff on the planet.
Right.
Crystal hardened black granite is some of the hardest stuff. It has like, I forget the names, like loramite and dorlamite and these other kinds of like names for this stuff. And with the common names are like galaxy black in the commercial industry. But like we can't do that with that stuff. So and I'm telling you, like you spin the bowls. There's this video. I gotta get this video. I don't always think to record everything. I'm getting better about it. But they spin these bowls, and they just like wobble, woo 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 woo, and then slowly return back to their original position. I mean, you can knock them the F over, and you could break them if you wanted to, but it takes a good amount of force. Like these things can't just like, if you bump one with an elbow, it's not gonna fall over, you know. In fact, I would say that they're probably stand up a little bit. Like if you were to go take another similar vase and bump it, like that we can produce out of, we make out of that red clay and, fired stuff that we see, it's much more likely to break than these. Way more likely. Just fascinating objects. I mean, the amount of content that's already out on them. And for anybody watching, and you guys included, like, go do your homework. Like, you go check these things out. Go watch some videos on these. Go type in Uncharted X. It's insane. Like hours of this stuff about like scientists just being baffled by it.
Yeah, my experience, it don't take much to baffle scientists.
Well, fair, but they also bring
everything is phenomenal and crazy and wild because it has to be.
Yeah, but
otherwise...
they'd go take these to industrial stonemasons, like lineal. High-tech stonemasons with some of the best plants in Europe, and these guys are like just very pragmatic approach about it. They go, yeah, no, I mean, we could do this, but we don't have the technology right now. We would have to R&D it, and we could, but we would also have to invent these new drill bits that can cut away stone 50 times the speed that what we currently have now. We do slab work. We don't do these kinds of bowl work. Like we could. We didn't know how to make those curvatures, but now that we measured them, we can replicate that. And we understand why they'll work that way too. Like they have certain harmonics. You can go take a tuning fork and tap it against it, and it puts out this frequency. It's a curvature made to make this amount of frequency. So once you kind of conjoin these two things, you start saying that you have these like super symmetrical shapes that have these really cool physical properties. And the old Masons are like, yeah, that's pretty cool. We could totally do that for you. Give us 5 years. Like that's neat. Like they aren't like all wooed by it. Like they're impressed by the technology, but they also see it for what it is.
Right.
Yeah. I like that approach because it's I'm telling you, it's like it's not metaphysical anymore. This is very much like, we can recreate this. Like if we want to make these bowls that'll last 30,000 years and have like healing properties and anti-tip properties, like we could make these and sell them for a good $1. Like thanks for the idea.
Yeah, but nobody's interested in doing that. Nobody wants anything that's positive for people.
Give it a couple years. Something tells me that there's going to be video. Give it a couple years. Something tells me there's going to be these videos where these plants start producing these things and sell them for $4,000 or $5,000 a pop to elites. And then it gets all hush because the technology is too powerful, and so then they go and scrub it from the internet. Watch it. Watch it. I know these things. They call me Mystic Mac because I see the future. Watch it. Watch it. No, it's just like, I got to buy into my character. Like I got to buy into my intuitions. That's like a whole part of this, like being self-reflective. Like it's like a borderline prediction, like. But it's not really prophetic. It's just much more of being able to look a little more four-dimensionally at how technology works,
Sure.
Like stop looking at technology in such a straight line. Like There's like bell curve, like bells and technology all over the place and during time. We can look back and we can see it. Like Sumerian tablets, like talking about DNA and stuff. How the hell do I know about DNA? You know, and we're talking about it all the time. Talking about it all the time. You know.
That's a little more creepy, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying technology is much more. You know, it's a lot less linear than people think it is. It's like we're not the only advanced species. Like clearly there was, and there isn't any reason why we can't dig this shit up and learn. You know, and have a renaissance in our own technology.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the whole. If you see any of this stuff floating around, just me saying it and your mic picking up on this will plant the seed. Tartaria. See, watch. Here's another insight. Like it'll start popping up because I say this word a few times. Tartaria. Old Russian nation that was covered by the mud flood, and then the robber barons like did everything they could to cover it up so they could stay in power. This happened like the turn of the 19th century, like 1880 or something, 1890. And that like several years of history, like 500 years of history, were covered up. To say that like these guys have always been in charge. All right.
It sounds like One Piece to me.
Sounds like One Piece?
Yeah,
everyone keeps telling me to watch One Piece. Should I watch One Piece? Everyone tells me I'd like it because I like believe all this stuff in One Piece. I've never seen One Piece.
Andy, you watch One Piece?
No. Don't know what that is.
Oh.
It's an anime. It's a Japanese anime that's like incredibly popular, and it's this like post-apocalyptic, like dark comedy.
I'm not really a big fan of anime in general.
Yeah, I like.
Because I don't think it's good or whatnot. I just
don't
really like it. I
got a couple. Oh god.
Not really my cup of tea.
I would, out of many animes, I mean, I can't say I've actually seen many of them because I think a couple of them are pretty good. But I will say
here's one.
This one is exceptionally different that I
check this video out.
As any other anime, but I would highly recommend watching it in all of its entirety. And you can take breaks on the in between, but hearing people's interpretations of what you're about to see is very interesting.
Check out this video, guys. Can you see this video? You can keep talking about what you're talking about. I just want you to watch the video.
Yeah, that's all geological stuff.
Is it?
I mean, you can look at stuff in nature.
Just watch it for a minute. Just watch it for a minute. I'm not telling you what to believe. I've just seen a lot of this stuff.
Was this in the Grand Canyon?
I think some of this stuff comes from the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, they talked about the petrified wood.
Yeah. All I have to say about this is
what it is the petrified wood.
People don't know, man. People don't know what it is. It's so old. So the thing is, I don't necessarily believe in that these were like necessarily snakes or humans, but it does make me think that, I mean, everything I believe about modern archaeology is complete horse trash. You think that everything I believe about modern geology isn't horse trash? I mean, it just is. Like, so once you start stripping the veil, just let your mind go. I'm not telling you what to believe, man. I'm just telling you to drop the Rothschild indoctrination. Like, if you don't believe the archaeology, why would you believe the geology? If you don't believe the politics, you know, why would you believe the religion? Why would you believe any of this stuff? Like, decide for yourself. Go out and see these sites with your own eyes and make some of your own decisions. Go find some reputable scientists that are worth reading and read a couple of articles that these scientists have put out. You know, like, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you to find something you find interesting in this that maybe isn't what you've been told, and go do a little research and find out why it's so fishy. That's it. It's there's this. I think there's a lot of well poisoning. I've been talking about flat Earth. Like flat Earth always gets thrown into Tartaria and this what I call the landmark events. Where
flat earthers are fucking morons.
But I think it's well poisoning. Like, why is it every time I want to go read something about Tartaria, I start hearing the Earth is flat? Here's the problem with flat Earth theory: is that even if we do live under a dome or we live in a matrix, which I totally believe that's possible. Like I have sympathy for flat earthers in a lot of ways. And when it comes to being a skeptic and thinking that we're on a prison planet, I think you're right. But as soon as you start denying the fact that whatever's under that dome is curved, you're an idiot. It is curved. Like, I don't care. Like, it could be turtles all the way down, but the top of it's still curved. It still mimics what would look like Earth. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff that was put up there in the sky for us to look at, whether or not we can reach it, it doesn't matter. It fits a particular model as far as the science is concerned, and it ain't flat Earth. Like you know, it can all be an illusion, but whatever we're standing on is curved.
It's just a blanket term.
No, it's not. That's the problem. That's why I think it's well poisoning. Is that like
it's
Tartaria is a perfectly acceptable. No, Tartaria is a perfectly acceptable thing to research. There's no reason why it should be associated with flat Earth. Flat Earth is idiotic. Flat Earth is denying your own senses. Like, see, here's the thing about skepticism, is that you can deny everything. There's this, when you get a bachelor's in philosophy, there's this, like, fundamental steps you have to go through as a young philosopher. And part of it is, like, accepting your existence, like the whole Descartes, I think, therefore I am. Like, you have to accept your existence. Like, you just do. You can't really have a conversation with yourself unless you accept that you exist. Okay, so we kind of move on from that. But then you've got to evolve, right? You've just got to evolve in your philosophy and kind of like shake off some of this early nonsense before you can really have a good conversation. You know, you gotta learn to think for yourself. You gotta learn to think for yourself. Like, I can hand you a fish, but I would rather teach you how to fish. You know, it's this. I oftentimes, you know, that guy who does the pyramid stuff that I've made you watch a couple times. You liked his videos. You liked his videos. He's got dark hair and he does like math facts about pyramids. Like, I hope that guy makes a bunch of money. He's teaching you how to think. Like, I like that. Like, he's not trying to like make you give you a belief system. He's giving you the mathematics of these buildings and trying to make you understand how math works, like in a simple way. He's trying to teach you. I like that. Like, he doesn't go, the pharaohs did this. This is what the God, you know, like he's going, go think for yourself. I have a certain respect for that.
Sure, who doesn't?
I may not be able to always tell you how it is, but I think that a good form of teaching is learning how to shake off that manipulation. And I'm just telling you to look at these things with an open mind. You know, there's a lot of angles, but this particular angle, like, it's in our best interest to just kind of like, maybe were there snakes this big? You know, was there maybe once a snake that was that big, or some creature that maybe we might consider that would resemble a snake? And maybe we should do different kinds of testing to these stones to find out what they really are. You know, I'm not telling you to believe that these were old titans that fell over and died. You know, like, I think that's a little silly just to immediately assume this kind of stuff. Like, when I was telling you about the tree stuff before, it's like, what if these things really did, like, what if geology like more resembled trees? You know, like these pre-geologic.
I think these are just repeatable patterns in nature in general.
I think the Earth has gone through a lot of changes. I think it would be silly to think that this really ancient object that we live on didn't go through like some real crazy changes. And hear me out on this. This is a fun one for me. This is where, like, I kind of get a little jump the shark, and I'm willing to admit that. But I also think that there's some education that goes behind it. Like, what if these trees that we see that look like trees to us, where we like, everyone goes, oh, you just see these patterns. But why is it that we shouldn't take some intuition from that? What if there were these pre-biologic trees that were much more similar to really old stone structures that had this like really pre-tree existence, right? That maybe they were missing an element of a tree, but they were like almost there, and these things were really ancient, large objects. You understand?
Okay.
Like, well, how come no one considers that? Like, why is it we just go from these huge tree objects that we consider, like we chop down trees so the trees don't get big. You've heard me say this before. So now we've trained our trees to grow really fast over over fast periods of time, but they don't ever get really big. What if there was this other kind of cultivation that cultivated these like really large trees instead of these small trees, or just a condition on Earth that did, and that slowly evolved over time? Like a whole different way to look at it. Like everything on Earth was just bigger. Like Earth's huge, and there was a time, and you've talked about this. You even buy into part of it, where like that the environment. Like, did you know that if you took a globe,
Yeah,
if you
it was filled with, it was much higher oxygen
Listen,
content.
this
and
is
things just grew much larger.
so here's some science on Earth. People don't realize how huge Earth is, and there's a big misunderstanding about this. So if you take Earth and you had a large ball in your hands, let's say like a 13-pound red kickball, like a big one, a beach ball, like a beach ball size thing.
Yeah.
Our atmosphere reaches 2 millimeters off of that beach ball. Earth is so incredibly massive that the space station, which is, I forget, like 400 miles off the surface of the Earth, is like less than a half an inch off of that beach ball. To think that there couldn't be objects that were just incredibly massive compared to what we see now at a different point in time in Earth's past, like you're probably just mistaken. It's probably naive. I think that there weren't these, just intense. And just quite frankly, even on the planet, we've talked about Pangea, just like the massive difference in the way the Earth was shaped, oblonged. It could be like a much more diverse place, and it's much more homogenized now that Earth's much older and cooled. Like there's all the these crazy possibilities that we don't allow our minds to think about.
I need to give a 5-minute countdown from when I gotta head out.
I'm done.
We'll
I'm
probably
done.
Just end the stream.
Let's. Unless you guys have some shit you want to say.
No, I'm good.
And I would say,
You talked me out.
if you want to do a Not Me Talking podcast on Tuesday and try to do some Satisfactory, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool.
We'll give that a shot.
And Black, yeah, if you're interested, I'll hook you up with it. I'll send it your way.
Yeah, as long as it's not wasting it. I mean, I'll give it a shot, but no promises.
Cool.
It's a building game. If you enjoy building, you'll like it. If you don't, you won't.
Yeah, I don't really care for those. I never even played Minecraft.
You have a gun and it's first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It is kind of Minecraft. It's true. It's neat though. You get like jetpack.
To kill, but
You get to kill stuff and like use a jetpack and things like that, though.
it's for creative types.
You can totally be a wonderful troll.
No, not him trolling. I'll kick him out of the server if he wants to troll.
Hey, that'd make for a good video. We'll just plan it. We'll just script it that way. Just have Black come on there and did you see me catch myself there?
No, that doesn't sound like fun at all.
I went look, stuttered and caught myself. All right. I'm done talking. I'm getting tired from talking.
I'm getting tired of listening to you talk.
Yeah, I understand. All righty, guys. Have a good weekend.
Adios, muchachos.
Later.
Later. Bye.